Hello everyone, I'm Stefan Marceau. Today on the Nano Cruising Podcast, we're talking with someone whose fingerprints are all over modern small boat adventuring. Byrnes, founder of the B&B Yacht Designs. We get to dig into the mind behind the boats, what inspires him, how he thinks about design, and what it's like seeing his creations push boundaries all over the world. And stay tuned at the end for an important announcement. Graham, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Before we talk about the course sound or any designs or any of your achievements, I always like to hear, take me back a little bit to the moment or the feeling when you realized that small boats were going to be a lifelong part of you, how you are, and how you got into that.
Well, I started on the river, Brisbane River in Queensland, Australia,
Right.
as a kid, and I was just fascinated. I was too small to be competitive in regular sports, but suddenly in sailing I could be competitive, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And you're very competitive, obviously. So tell me about when you first understood a small boat or simple, efficient boats were your calling.
Well, it really starts from the beginning. All the boats we sail are just small skiffs, typical Australian, racing designs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fascinated by boat building and ended up getting a 5-year indentured apprenticeship, which I served from 1960 to 65.
Mm-hmm. And
so I studied yacht design during that time.
Nice.
And so small boats were just on the way to big boats
Right.
at that time.
Right.
And so I went off cruising full time for 15 years.
Did you?
And so I've sailed most of the world.
Wow. I did not know that.
And so I met my wife in Israel, and I spent 3.5 years in the Eastern Mediterranean area.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was American, and one thing led to another, and we ended up settling here in North Carolina. And so I'd been supporting myself designing cruising boats and wind vanes and surveying boats and just making a living wherever I could, delivering boats around.
Right.
And so anyway, when I settled here, it's really not economical to have a big boat if you're living ashore. If you're living on board a bigger boat, it's viable.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I went back to my roots in small boats and started messing with small boats again. I raced PHRF for a couple of years, and that was not satisfying. I mean, it was good fun, but
Mm-hmm.
and the local Maritime Museum, North Carolina Maritime Museum, started a race from Oriental to Berkeley, which is a 2-day race with camping out overnight. And the shortest last time won. I raced my favorite skiff the first year. It was really a bit undersized, and I wanted something a bit bigger. So I designed the Corsair 17 series, and it got its name from that sound that we pass through every time, because it's shallow water and it'll kick your butt unless you get it sorted out. And I fine-tuned the hull shape over a couple of iterations during that race. So that's where the name came from.
All right.
And so it did very well. We won every race, for the 6 years or so I participated. And, one of my competitors there came to me and he said, I want to get one of your boats. He said, but I'm not going to compete with you. I want don't build me a Corsair 17. How about doing something like 20 feet so I'll get a chance against you? So by the time we got the boat built, I ended up driving the boat for him. So I got to know the boat pretty well. And so, anyway, after about 6 years, the regime at the Maritime Museum changed, And so the seventh year, they neglected to tell me they'd moved the race forward a week. And so I got the hint that they didn't want me to play in their backyard, I could go somewhere else. And about the same time, somebody said to me, there's a bunch of nuts race around Florida. I said, well, tell me more. And so then I discovered the WaterTribe, and so I ended in 05, I think it was the first year.
That 2000, was that 2006? Is that your famous 2006?
05, I think, 2005 was the first year I participated.
Okay. Right.
And I didn't take it as serious as I should have, and I was first to the entrance of Flamingo in Florida Bay, and the squall that comes through, the cold front comes through, and it was blowing like stink in the middle of the night and black as hell. And I just didn't have a good enough chart to get into the harbour, so I just put the anchor down, so I gave up first place.
Right.
And so I on the way across the next day, I realised I didn't know anything about Florida Bay. I thought it was just a easy patch of water, but it kicked my butt again. It's hyper shallow, and I call it quick mud. You know, you have to push the boat off a bank, and you just sink down to your knees. And so anyway, after I got in, we were second overall. I talked to some of the locals, and I got a thorough lesson on the course out. On Florida Bay.
Right. And
so next year I was ready.
Next year, that's the famous 2006. Where tell us about that race. This is where anyway. I won't give it everything away. Go ahead. Tell us about the 2006, that famous race. Where.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was what to say? It was just a good race, and I got to enjoy the format. I guess I pushed it a lot harder than a lot of the other boats, and so it seemed to suit me racing long hours and charging into a place in the dark, picking way through mangroves and stuff. It was a lot of fun, and so anyway, that was our first year. We won. We managed to set a course record. And
you're being so humble. Managed to set a course, smashed a course record from, I remember, something like 9+ hours, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me about that race, how that went, and of course, you smashed a record. Is that I guess it's attributed to design? It really fit, or you knew about the Florida Bay much better too.
Well, I designed a very conservative boat, but I tried to design boats for the upper end of the speed range rather than the lower end. A lot of these fine double enders, they go for the low speed, and I think, why would you want to design at that end of the spectrum? Because any boat is reasonable in those conditions. Maybe I'm a little slower than them. I give up a little bit of my low air performance for higher air performance, and that to me is when you really want it to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's bigger gains at that end of the spectrum than the other end. And so that's been my philosophy in those sort of boats.
You want to tell us about that? I know you've designed that, but tell us about this design. Of course, Sounds 17s became has a huge following, obviously, and a lot of plans sold and a lot of builds of that. It's become the norm for expedition racing, really, to beat, really. So if you can tell me a little bit, I guess, about the design itself and why it fits so well for that type of races.
Well, she's got a pretty full stern, so she can surf and plane fairly easily. And she's fairly full bowed, and the French have been doing this sort of thing recently with their mini transats and their around the world foiling boats. They're very full bowed, so they don't stuff the bow so easily, and it gives them more riding moment. And so that's what I've been doing for years. I didn't take it to the extremes that they take it to, but I was trying to design wholesome, well-mannered boats, and over a fairly high freeboard because it's important to have a fairly high downfloating angle on a cruising dinghy because it's easy to get knocked down to 45 degrees in a strong squall, and if your point of vantage stability is 35, you don't recover, you just capsize easily. And so by having a 50 degree point of vantage stability, or downflow angle, I mean, you can, you usually don't get knocked quite that far, so you get to recover. That was important to me for that kind of, we're trying to design good, fast, safe boats. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
And also, tough, common sense, construction and, boats that can take it. And so we had a very high average, finish from all the course hounds that sailed the Everglades Challenge.
Mm-hmm. So it came originally from a spindrift, I guess, spindrift and Bay River skiff. Is that where you derived? So what did?
No, it was a Bay River skiff. Well, Bay River skiff is just a simple B-bottom skiff for a dry,
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't have a developed bow like the course hound. But the first year I did that great race down the Beaufort, I realized I needed a bigger boat, and so I wanted to have plenty of shear so I could. Didn't want to stuff the bow. I wanted to, had a lot of requirements that I thought were, good load carry, stand up and sail. And I went with a cat catch because it was cheap. two sails, almost not a lot of hardware, trying to keep the cost down.
Right.
And so simple the sprint, eliminated the bang. And so you can run downwind, attacking the jibs and, you wing and you don't need to bang the sail because the sprint is the right angle to work as a bang. And so we got to where we could, sail the boat without a rudder. And it was handy on Florida Bay where the water goes out so low that, it's very hard to tack and almost no water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I have the blades up and actually tack without, any rudder or centerboard in the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's simple catch rig, balanced spars and a low center of effort, right? So that's kind of hit the sweet spot to make it simple and really, I guess it makes it a perfect, Everglade challenge machine, it seems to be, right?
Yes. And so, naturally, when you get a little bit of competition, you start revving up the hardware and you get to make them ever more complicated. but we try hard to keep the philosophy there.
Yeah. So now that there's more Core Sound 17, you find that there's competition between them and there's improvements that are being done to design or complication?
I think, the forum is good to people exchange ideas. I'm always enjoy seeing what, modifications people make to their boats.
Right.
Some are good and some are bad. And it's part of the idea of building your own boat is to be able to make it how you want it.
Right.
And so I don't knock people for, modifying it. I just hope that they, think it through and make good choices rather than bad choices.
Right. And what's some of the good, modifications you've seen that have been done? Or upgrades that you recommend?
There's so many years of evolution. I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but there's been people contributed and we've advanced the design from our experience and their experience and so on.
Right.
And so the other thing is the Mark IIIs at the cabin.
Yes,
I've enjoyed that. My own little boat, Carlito, I've sailed it all over the place.
Right. I think, the cabin is probably an option a lot of people were, I guess, requesting. So, Especially if you're in Canada like me. The cabin. How does it perform with the cabin? Does it still perform pretty well? Very similarly? Or?
Yeah. I gave it a little bit more horsepower. The bottom is almost identical to the Mark One, but I gave it a little more beam and a little more sail area and water ballast, and they perform pretty close.
Right.
To the Mark One equivalent, both the 20 and the 17. I'm sure that we haven't raced them together enough to really know. I will see the differences, and also typically different capabilities of skippers, so it's hard to quantify.
And then I guess, like you've mentioned, I was going to ask, but you've mentioned that the core sound was the 20 was somebody that wanted just something bigger. And you have a 15 as well, right?
Yeah, it was the same guy that asked us to do the 15.
Guy. He wants them all.
Yeah, his family he's getting old. His family said, "You can't go sailing by yourself anymore. You can't put that big mast up by yourself." And so he first brought it to me to improve the mast raising thing, and that lasted for a couple of years. But eventually said, "I'm going to have a smaller one because they just won't let me go out by myself." So the 15 was
right.
Just for him as well.
I mean, this has been designed. I mean, it's a design that's over 20 years old, and it's really popular still. So, has it got better because of lightweight materials now, or more modern hardware? What do you think?
No,
not really.
No. The materials haven't changed much. The overall weights haven't changed much.
Right.
But there's I think all up there's over 1,000 core sounds. There's 400, roughly 400 plans for 17 Mark Ones out there, and I think we had them all up one day and came close to 1,000 of all of the different iterations of the core sound.
So tell me about some of these builders. Any stories from them that are interesting over the years?
Well, some of my favorite memories are where this guy was cutting his nesting cat's paw in two, and the lady across the street called his wife and said, "Quick, Jay's going crazy. He's storing his boat up." One of the funny things that I had after I discovered this so-called quick mud, I thought to myself, I need a bigger footprint. I wonder how snowshoes would work. And I've never been in snowshoes. I've never lived in snow until I came here. And but anyway, I took some snowshoes and we got down to Chokoloskee, which had tightened its way out and it was very muddy. And I thought, I had an excellent chance to try my snowshoes.
That works.
And so I put them on and I'm struggling out of the water, and all of a sudden the guy looked at me and he said, "Man, are you lost?" It turned out when I first put them on, I got stuck in strong easterly, which is the east wind blows the water out into the Gulf, and the water can't recover through the little passages in the keys.
Okay.
So the water just drops a couple of feet.
Right.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to try the snowshoes. So I put them on, and I was on my 22-footer, and so I jumped off the bow, and they stuck. I couldn't move. I was planted. And I was in about 2 feet of water or less. And all of a sudden, the boat sheared across at me and knocked me down. I tried to lift my foot to balance myself, but my feet wouldn't lift. Stuck in the mud and knocked me down. I fell on a sand shark. He had a bigger surprise than I did. But after a while, I figured out how to rest my shoulder on the bowsprit and walk pigeon-toed and get a slight, I call it a trot. It's not really a trot underwater, but it's kind of like as if I'm trying a slow trot. And so I was making good progress, but then I discovered the downside was that there's sand in this, grit in this mud. And with my heels wet, and they're, in the water.
Right.
They just ground my heels away. So it was a failure.
What about adventures of people? Where have they gone? What have you heard?
Well, I saw on social media, someone posted, they took some pictures of a Corsair 17 that's sailing from Canada down to Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I thought that was a nice adventure.
Yeah, that's a pretty big adventure. Nice.
Yes. I've sailed those waters a bit, and I'd love to do it one day, but I'm 82 and I've had Parkinson's for the last dozen years, so that's probably not going to work for me.
Do you have any more design in your head?
Oh yeah, always got designs in my head. And we've got a 30-foot powerboat that I've designed for low energy and fuel economy for doing a great loop.
Okay.
And so that's being built now. It's well advanced.
Right.
And then I've just recently designed a new boat for myself, which may or may not build, but we've got to keep designing it. They say old designers never get old, they just get a little dinghy. Well, I've already done the little dinghy thing. Mm-hmm. And so, now I'm doing a small, let's say 22 foot 6 inch, pilot house, cruiser.
Okay.
And it currently has a junk rig on it because, I want to drive from inside the pilot house, and, there's only 2 lines needed to handle the junk. You have it in the sheet. You can reef and unreef and, all that sort of stuff. And it's just 2 lines. So that's my current design.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So anyway, that's what I'm finishing up right now.
Oh, okay. Nice. But the interest in small boat expedition, remains pretty high, I think. Do you see any changes in the next generation going to that, or what's the future of small boat expedition?
It's hard to say. I think the marina costs are getting ever more expensive, and
true.
And health boating business is having a bit of a downturn.
Mm-hmm.
There's not as many people are racing. There's a lot more competition for kids' times these days. In my day, there was no such thing as television where I lived, and we walked where we wanted to go, and it's a different world now.
Yeah.
And so I think small boats will continue to be popular.
Yeah.
But because the days of all the big ship boat building companies like Morgan and Catalina and all going down the tubes, they're all gone.
Yeah, I just heard. I think it's Catalina that just closed, I believe.
Yeah. Well, the owner died, and he was keeping it together. He worked on very low overheads, and he managed to ride the storms. But Catalina's holding. But all the others, like Hunter's, long gone.
Right.
And so there's a surplus of boats. I mean, they're giving big boats away right now. You can buy a pretty decent. I mean, you give them a pretty decent boat for $1.
Yeah.
A friend of mine just did a couple of months ago.
Right.
As
long as you can afford a place to put it and keep it, right?
Well, that's what's happened back in the day. We didn't have the money, and you had to build your own boat. So you could keep it for free. You just put your anchor down and you were good.
Right.
And the real estate, waterfront real estate is going through the roof.
Right.
And insurance and all the other aggravations of life, modern civilization. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard for that to stay where it was at. Well, there's a reason why this hasn't stayed where it was at. It's failing, at least being reduced.
Right. Yeah, I see the same, that the small boats is getting quite a bit of resurgence, I think, because, like you said, the cost and easy to go in anywhere you want to, which is nice. So that's nice to see. So
as long as keep it in the backyard, no overhead.
Yeah, that's right. You cut that over. Do you still go out a lot? Do you still race?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and in fact, my last big adventure, you're talking about adventures, I circumnavigated they call it the Delmarva Peninsula, which is a combined Delaware, Virginia, and Maryland into one word. And
Right.
it's those 3 states, borders those 3 states.
Wow.
And so I did that 3 or 4 years ago, and you'll find on our website the log of my cruise.
Wow.
And to the best of my knowledge, there's been 2 books written about it, and they've gone around in a counterclockwise direction. I went
Right.
in a clockwise direction. I went a counterclockwise, not just to be ornery, but I wanted to get up to the good parts first.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming from my own IKEA, I sailed up here into Virginia and crossed into the Sound. And what they did in those 2 books, they couldn't go all the way around inside. I managed to do it all the way around inside. And very shallow charts are not stable, you know,
Right.
the shifting sands and so on.
Right.
And so that was quite an adventure.
Right. Nice.
And and I did a fundraiser for Parkinson's for my 80th birthday.
Fantastic.
I did about a 600 or 700 mile cruise around Pamlico Sound.
Nice. And what boats do you tend to favor for these?
I did in Cali, of course, Sound 17 Mark III.
Wow. Nah, perfect. Yeah, I love the Mark III. That would be the one in my list, definitely. Too many projects in my hands, though, for sure. Is there, looking back of your decades of design, is there some lesson that you would want to impart to everybody in the small boat cruising world? There's something you say, I wish they'd understood this, right?
Yeah. I've said it a lot, but none jumps in my mind right now. But the most important thing, I think, people should be better prepared. I see a lot of boats go out there and think, oh my God, that looks scary.
Right.
And, you know, if I look back at my first, when we left, to go voyaging back in, 1970, there was no electronic navigation, all in sex. And the thing we had, the cook didn't have was time signals. You know, we was using the same technology and the same, things that he was using, except we had a cheap, shortwave radio that I could update my, cheap alarm clock for a time.
Right.
Chronometer.
Right.
So we did it with nothing. And, there's no life raft, there's no radio, there's no communications.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just damn lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. We got everything at our fingertips now. And we still get in trouble. Not prepare enough. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell our listeners about small boat and sailing?
Well, I mean, one of the things that's been most fortunate is getting Alan to join the team.
Mm-hmm.
I met him during the Everglades Challenge in about my 3rd year. He was in college.
Right.
And there's a picture his dad took of him and I and Matt Layton sailing my boat. We just won the Everglades Challenge at the time, and we were going for sail out to see his mother. His mother also participates in the Everglades Challenge. And so anyway, he's been a great help because he's brought the newer technology into the business. You know, he's
right.
So up to date with all the technology, whereas I'm a curmudgeon. And so it's been really good. And there's for our customers, there's continuity because I've gone through all the iterations of design. I can begin to teach Alan my philosophy. And so he's got it. He's doing a great job. And so for continuity for the future, for our builders and owners, knowing that, you know, it's not, the company's just not going to die with me.
Right.
It should hopefully live on.
Right.
So that was important to me.
That's a very good point. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Graham. Really appreciate your time and answering our questions. I think our listeners will love to hear that. So really appreciate your time.
It's a pleasure.
And before we wrap up, a quick note. After a full year of people asking, Nano Cruising finally has t-shirts. They are eco-friendly, responsibly printed, and honestly, they came out great. If you want to support the show and look good doing it, you'll find them in the new shop at nanocruising.com. If you want to keep up with new episodes, bonus bits, or the occasional questionable idea that I'm testing, make sure you're on the mailing list. Come hang out in the Nano Cruising Facebook group. It's really growing and it's full of sailors and where you can find smart advice and great stories. Thank you for sharing all that there. And if you enjoyed the show and want to keep the lights on, you can support us on Patreon. It's totally optional, but usually appreciated. You'll find all the links in the show notes and on nanocruising.com. Until next time, get out there, have fun, and remember, seize your own adventure.